As a kid, I always had great intuition, and I still do today. In general, I can feel vibrations off of people, or I can read their body language really good. Sometimes there's more to it than that. When my parents didn't like somebody and were putting on a show, or trying to act polite to them, I could tell that they didn't like them even when they were smiling and pretending. There's another example of my intuition, and it has to do with that grounding technique that I was speaking about earlier. But there was more to it than that. I had a feeling that I should do this. This was a long time ago. We were in Maine. They were vacationing. I wasn't going to school or anything like that. Me and my father took a walk in the morning, and I found a pair of pliers, needle nose pliers. Put them in my pocket. They were pretty heavy. I liked the feeling of it, and I brought it home. They told me I could keep these pliers, so I did. Well, we're going for a longer walk. We were going to go for another later in the day, and I wanted to bring the pliers. They told me no. It normally isn't a big deal. I just give up my grounding and we go for a walk. But I had this feeling like I should bring it anyways. This intuition, this vibe, like I should bring these pliers like somebody's going to need it. Or something's going to happen where we're going to need it. So I argued and said, no, I want to bring them, no, I want to bring them, no, I want to bring them. They eventually agreed. My mother told me, there's no way you'll ever need those. You're doing stupid stuff again. Let's go. So I put them in my pocket and we went. I didn't ground with them. I didn't hold them in my hand. I wasn't using my grounding technique because now my mom has, belittled me and told me I'm acting stupid. So I'm being belittled, so I'm not going to hold the pliers while walking. I'm just going to leave them in my pocket. So I'm not grounding with it or anything like that. I still have this feeling like we're going to need it for something. And we're walking and we get real far and I go, oh, I was wrong. I'm thinking in my head, I guess I was wrong. But I don't know why. I have this feeling like there's something important going to happen. But oh well. And we keep walking. It's still going. It's a far walk. And at the end of our walk, when we get to the end and we're about to turn around, a guy starts screaming up near the water where they're fishing, coming up, asking total strangers, anybody have a pair of pliers? Anybody? These are beachgoers. They're not people that should have pliers. These are nobody that should have any type of pliers. But he's going, anybody have pliers? Anybody have pliers? We have a nice fish and I gotta cut the line. Anybody have a pair of pliers? And wouldn't you know, I just happened to have a pair of pliers in my pocket. So I took out the pair of pliers, looked at my mother and father and said, can I let him have it? Can I let him use it? My mother just looked down, got angry because she was wrong. I was surprised that my intuition was correct. And I walked down, gave the guy the pair of pliers. He was able to keep his fish. He was able to keep his food. And if he didn't have the pliers, that fish might have died. Who knows? Maybe there was more importance to this than I knew. Maybe God had a plan for this guy and he was just giving me this intuition. I don't know. God works in mysterious ways. But I sure had a feeling that I should bring those with me that day. There was no good reason for it. I wasn't grounding with it. I just had a vibration. I had intuition that said I should bring these. And wouldn't you know, whenever I trust my intuition, it's correct. My intuition is correct. When I listen to other people, when I do what other people think I should do, some things don't work out for me. But when I listen to God's wisdom, when I go with my intuition, with that feeling that to do right or feeling that something needs to be done, things work out for me. Things happen that are 1 in a million chance. I have a lot of these 1 in a million chance. Like I felt like I should pray for food and nothing else. In less than 3 minutes, somebody stops in the middle of nowhere where you should stop and gets me McDonald's. And this is as an adult in a place where nobody should be stopping, and the timing was off. These pliers, I had a feeling, an intuition that I should bring them, and all of a sudden, somebody's screaming, "Who has pliers? Anybody have pliers? Who?" And wouldn't you know, I happen to have a pair of pliers. I had Neil-nose pliers that could cut his line, and he got to keep his fish, and there might have been a lot more to his side of this than I knew. But God knew. God knew where I was. He knew where this fisherman was. He knew what my mother was doing, what my father was doing. Maybe everybody needed to wake up. And you need to trust your intuition, your heart, and God. You need to follow God's light. You need to follow that. You need to feel what's in your heart and follow good vibrations and your good intuition. And if you do that, 1 in a million chances will line up all the time in your life. It's happened hundreds of times in my life where I had this feeling, this intuition. I followed that intuition and everything worked out great. There was a time too where things were really cold and I didn't want to leave this hallway. I was about 19, 20, maybe older. I was homeless. But something told me just to take a walk around the block. Just take a walk, Zach, around the block and come back. I had no clue why I should go out in the cold and take a walk. But I did it. I followed my intuition. The streets are dead because it's freezing. I'm shaking. I'm cold. I'm like, why the hell did I follow my intuition? And then I find $80, $80 freaking dollars right in front of me. Not a soul in town. Nobody on the streets, nobody around. $80 right in front of me. I grabbed the $80. Now I have breakfast. I got lunch. At the time I was a smoker, so I could get a pack of cigarettes. I had no cigarettes. I followed my intuition, and God left me money. I prayed because God told me to pray, and food dropped out of the sky. Somebody just came by and was like, here you go. 3 minutes after that, my intuition told me I should bring these pliers with me for this walk, and a guy needed them. He needed them. He was asking total strangers up and down the street if they had pliers. And, of course, I was the only one that had pliers. This is intuition. This is God's wisdom. If you follow that, things will work out for you. There's a lot of work you got to do in between, though. But when you get these feelings of intuition that might help somebody else out or yourself, don't ignore them. Don't ignore God's light. Don't ignore your own intuition. Don't ignore those vibrations, those good or bad vibrations. If you feel bad vibrations, listen to them. If you feel good vibrations, listen to them. There's more to spirituality than science can explain. And I tell you, God exists, and spirituality exists, and human intuition goes way past body language. It goes way past that. I hope people like this one.